It seems like there's always been some sort of licensed Simpsons game on the market, as long as the TV show has existed. It seems like everyone has fond memories for the original arcade game and many of the games that came afterwards, but these days the franchise is used like most others, as free-to-play mobile game branding. But in between these two extremes were quite a few games created for home consoles, and today we're looking at the Simpsons Hit and Run. Most licensed movie or TV show games tend to take a safe route. Just make a shitty platformer and call it a day. But the Simpsons games took it in a more interesting direction. Why just clone the 3D platforming genre? Why not clone other genres as well? As a result, the three Simpsons games from the PS2, Gamecube, Xbox era can pretty directly be tied to a specific franchise or type of game. Road Rage is Crazy Taxi, Skateboarding is Tony Hawk, and Hit and Run is Grand Theft Auto. And no joke, Sega actually sued over the Crazy Taxi clone. Now, these were hit or miss. Skateboarding is absolutely awful, and Road Rage is fine, but not as good as Crazy Taxi. But Hit and Run is an incredibly well done Grand Theft Auto type game, from a time when that type of game was absolutely red hot. Of course, you can't just take the mechanics from GTA, drop them in Springfield, and hope it works, and thankfully the developers didn't even try. Instead, they built the world from the ground up for Simpsons fans, exactly what you need to do if you're making a licensed title. Now, there are references that range from hit you over the head obvious to wildly obscure scattered throughout the world, which nails the look and feel of The Simpsons perfectly with its cartoon art style, something a lot of 3D games struggle to do because you're taking a 2D, almost hand-drawn art style and you're trying to make it polygonal. But this game nails it. But it doesn't end with the art style. It also gets something right a lot of licensed games neglect when it comes to looking like their TV or movie counterpart: animation. Even just driving down the road, watching Homer sway around the car looks fantastic from an animation standpoint. It looks exactly the way you'd expect it to. And, as you might expect, there are quite a few concessions in order to make the GTA concept a little more family-friendly. If this game is super cutesy, you can't just be beating up random people on the side of the street. Now, walk up to any car in the street and hit the button to get in, and instead of hijacking the car, Homer will be riding in the passenger seat while the driver continues to drive, even though you as the player now get control of the car. But those concessions actually add to the game's charm, which it has in spades, and it makes up for a lot of its shortcomings. For starters, the game is extremely easy, holding almost no real challenge, but at some point, I feel like challenge actually would have detracted from the game. As it was, I was smiling most of the time, and I feel like any amount of frustration may have broken the spell the game had on me. The one major complaint I do have about Hit and Run is really the same complaint I have about a lot of longer media that comes out of TV shows. After a while, the sense of the show and the comedy just kind of falls flat. The Simpsons was designed to be 30-minute chunks of television, and when you sit down and play a few hours of this game, it just doesn't quite hold together as well. But realistically, that's a pretty minor complaint, and despite feeling like many of the jokes were falling flat, I was still enjoying myself more often than not. This game really is just an absolute joy to play, especially if you've ever had a love for The Simpsons. And it's even a competent GTA clone to boot. This game came out for all three platforms originally, GameCube, Xbox, PS2, and it is readily available on eBay for all of those platforms, although the prices seem to vary wildly. But any version of this game is perfectly fine if you have the console to run it. Every Monday, I look at a game that's at least 10 years old, what I would consider a retro game, and I look and I see if it's held up today, if it's still fun to play now, because that's really what you want to know. You don't want to know if it was good back then. That's not really any use to you. But is it still fun to play now? If you like that idea, be sure to subscribe so you can see my latest reviews. If you like this review in particular, be sure to hit the like button, and thanks for watching.